Hi everybody, and here we are with Annette
Skelley.
Skelley. Sorry. Annette Skelley, and friend of Tom Hoffman's here, and she has a great gift too of being able to hear voices and know who they are, and has some real interesting experiences she's had in her life. So Annette, I know you really can't remember when you first started hearing these voices, but what do you remember, like how far back? What's the first thing that you can remember, or something somewhere around there?
You know, I can't, I cannot remember exactly how far back, but I did have a lot of supernatural things happen to me. Just little things, walking into a room to start to turn on a light, and the light would just come on, the light switch, and everything would just,
Really?
flip up. And I would go, okay, and then I would be, as a child, I remember being at my grandmother's house, and back in Houston, where I'm from, it would be so hot, and so everybody's in the living room watching TV, and I would be out, because it seemed hotter in there, and so I'd be out from there and looking. I'd be walking around, and I'd look down the hallway, and the back bedroom light would go on, and then it'd go off. And then it'd go on, and then it'd go on, and I'd go, okay, everybody's in the room, nobody's back there. And I remember one time saying, the light switch keeps going on and off in the back, and I was young. I was probably, I'd say 7, 8, something like that, when this was going on. And
Were you thinking about turning a light switch on and
off?
off?
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh,
It just was strange, and I would, you're kind of making me think about it, and I would remember, maybe hearing voices, but I didn't understand it. I really did not understand it. And then seeing kind of things and feeling I've been touched before by things and not knowing what it is, but, going, okay, somebody just touched me.
What happened? Describe it a little bit.
Gosh, I'm trying to think of one. Well, one was, I remember as a child, with young girls, we were having a seance in a slumber party, of course, that we all did. And we were like trying to conjure up somebody, and I just remember we were all sitting there, and and all of a sudden this hand just did this to me and stayed there for a while. And I didn't scream or anything. I just sat there. I was like, because it wasn't frightening, and then it just lifted off. But it was like from above. And I'm like, okay. And then after, somebody screamed, and how young girls are. And I said, okay, who touched my head? And they're like, what are you talking about? And basically the hands would have been too small for that. Yeah. And so I was like, no, I got touched. And that I remember, pretty a lot. Because of that, I kind of knew something else touched me. I don't know who.
Right.
I don't know if it was who we were trying to do do the seance thing with. I don't know.
Now, how about like remembering voices, hearing voices?
Oh gosh, I don't remember as a young child. I remember that I did hear them. I can't tell you what it was about. There wasn't a special thing. I guess the most recent one, it was at my girlfriend's house. It was, I believe it was a year ago, May, in 2015. And I mean, I've heard voices since then, but this really kind of just, kind of kicked me in the butt, I guess I should say. That, this really happened. Because I have doubts, is this really happening? But anyway, it was my girlfriend, her father had passed away, and we were up in her little office area, and I saw his picture, and I said, oh, I'm so sorry to hear about your dad passing. And she goes, oh, yeah, she goes, it was really tough, but we went to St. Louis to bury him, and she goes, I kept asking my brother, are you sure Dad wanted to be buried in St. Louis? Because he was wanting, because he wasn't buried with his wife. Mm-hmm. And out of the blue, her dad just says, yes, that's where I wanted to be buried, was in St. Louis.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. And I'm looking at the other girls, and nobody heard anything. And I told her, I guess we shouldn't say any names, but anyway, I told her, I said, your dad just told me that, yes, this is where he wanted to be buried, was in St. Louis. And it just took me it came out of the blue. So I'm going, okay, all these things that I hear, there has to be something to it. It has to be something to this, that I am hearing this.
Right. Well, tell us about your latest experience.
My latest experience is, my father passed away the day before Thanksgiving of this last year in 2015. And we just recently had his memorial. Basically, it was a celebration of life. And the house was full of a lot of people coming to see him, and it was wonderful. It was just really a great day. And my dad didn't have a lot of hair. He lost his hair kind of young, but it was funny because he was going like this and like this. Tell him I got hair. Tell him I got hair. And I'm like, I can't say anything right now because there were so many people there. Only my immediate family understand that I do have somewhat of this gift.
Okay.
And, that I am kind of trying to figure this out myself. But, he kept bugging me. And I'm like, Dad, I cannot say anything. In my head, I'm like, I can't say anything right now. Because I'm not going to say this to people that are going, yeah, sure, right.
Right.
Yeah, We got you, Annette.
And even your own family, is a lot of your own family in that type of a mode, just like, yeah.
Oh, no, because my sister has a little bit of abilities, too. Yeah,
okay.
so it's just a little bit. I think that she could probably, she has more dreams, though. Things come to her in dreams a lot.
Okay.
From what we've talked about. And that was another thing that while we were there in Texas.
Now, did you have dreams? Or is all yours
Mine's
real life?
Real life.
Real life.
I don't really remember dreams at all.
Okay, well, let's finish your dad. So your dad's
he's poking at me, and I'm like, okay, Dad, And so anyway, but it was just funny because afterwards I was trying, because I see him, and he does have hair, and it was just very funny because I couldn't find a picture in the house that we had all these pictures of him, and the only thing I told my mom, I said, Mom, remember the 8mm films that we had of him when he and his buddies all went down to Mexico. This was like in the 50s.
So about how old would he have been then?
Well, I was...
Like in his 20s or 30s?
Yes, probably mid-20s possibly, maybe early, or late 20s, I would think.
Okay.
I would think. He could have been even younger. Oh my goodness, I was born in what?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, yeah, we don't need to
get
tell.
a general idea.
Anyway, yeah, and I kind of found a picture. I said he looks kind of like this, but the thing that I see is that when he was still alive, my brother had found one of those 8mm projector cameras.
Yeah.
They had an estate sale a couple of houses down, and he found one and he bought it, and so we put a sheet up. And we were watching some of the old ones, and those were on there. And I was like, oh my goodness, and that's what he looked like.
So when you saw him, did you see like a picture in your mind's eye of him? Or could you actually see him talking to you? Or how would you describe that?
I just saw a picture. No, in my mind's eye, yeah. Like I said, this is all still new to me that, okay, if this is really happening, then I need to really...
So all these things in your lifetime you've pretty much been suppressing the whole time and really not talking to people about it or anything
Not at all. Not at all. Okay. Didn't really want to. It kind of freaked me out a little bit. Things would happen when I would know something was going to happen, and then it happened, I'd go, oh no. Really? Oh, geez.
But you had another experience of somebody's father passing away?
Yes. My husband's father just passed away on July 4th, and we just got back from... his memorial. It was really a beautiful service and everything. And we were all sitting around the night. That was on a Sunday, and then it was Monday night. We were all sitting around, and Ted had already kind of said, his name was Ted, and he kind of already, talked to me a little bit about some things. And anyway, we're sitting there, and everybody's, talking, and his wife, Linda, said, that she was upset about him having to go to this one place because she felt it was his downfall, that's what he never got better. And everybody's talking and this and that, and he just kept saying, you've got to say it, you've got to say it. And I'm like, and I was tired. We were up early to drive over there, and then up early the next day, and, and it was later in the night when, we were out there talking. And I just I mean, it just came out. And I'm like going, and I grabbed Linda's hand, and I just started talking to her, and one of our, somebody who else who was there, I don't want to say everybody's names, but I'm not sure if she's really much of a believer. And she goes, well, Annette, we all feel that way. And I said, no, this is Ted talking. You know, it was like I was and I was crying also. I was just bawling. And I haven't cried like that in a really long time. I mean, I was just crying. And after it was done, and I was funny, I looked up at my husband's brother, and he's looking at it like, what's going on here, you know? I don't know about this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because I didn't really want to do it because I felt like I didn't know how everybody was going to take it.
Right.
But his wife, she took it really fine. She believes in this. And so it was nice, and it really comforted her. And I was very happy that it did. In fact, when I left, she goes, let me know if Dad has anything else to say. You know, it was really funny. And I was telling Tom this. It's like, you know, after that night, you know, I talked to her a little bit after everybody left and went to their hotel rooms. And she and I, we were staying there at the house, and she and I were talking. And I kind of was like, I was tired. And a lot of times when I'm tired, I can't, I don't hear it right, or I can't verbalize it very well. Okay. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And so so we said our goodnights, and I went to bed, and I'm laying there, and I'm like, man, I am so tired, I want to go to sleep, and I couldn't. And something just it came to me, and it's something about writing her a letter. And I was like, well, what? I don't know. I told you this, didn't I, Tom?
Yeah, you said Ted wanted you to write her a letter.
And I'm like, what? And it just, I was like, no, I didn't hear that right. And I didn't hear that right. Of course, it's not going to happen, you know, right. Because it's like, anyway, so I don't know what's going to happen now, you know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what'll happen with all of that,
so
if we will.
You didn't follow up and write a letter or anything?
Oh, no. I feel like he wants to do it later. He wants to do it later, yeah.
He told you yesterday, right? Or the day before?
It was the night that that all that stuff happened.
Gotcha.
In it, that, you know, and it was so funny. That's right. His sister, she's a really wonderful Christian lady, and she grabbed my hand while I was saying all these things to Linda. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say names. I'm sorry. Anyway, and she goes, it's okay, Annette, it's okay. And then when I had gone inside afterwards, and everybody else was sitting still outside, and she told me, she goes, your voice kind of changed. And I was like, it did? I said, I think, to me, it just got louder, because I do have a louder voice, and I think, because I was being stern, because he was being stern, kind of, you know, like, everybody shut up and listen. And so I don't know, did it sound like your dad's? You know, I didn't know. But she goes, no, but your voice changed. Your voice changed. I was like, okay, and we haven't really talked much about it because we just got back, you know, yesterday from everything. So it was just very interesting.
Now, have a lot of these times that you've heard voices throughout your life, has it been like right after somebody passed, or has it been other instances? Or?
It's been other instances.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's been other instances. And, you know, and I can't just think about it just right off the bat of what it was. I mean, things will come to me, and I'll go, oh yeah, you know.
Well, you had that one that you were telling a little bit before, and just keep the names out of it. But
yeah, I know, I'm trying. I'm pretty bad about that, I'm sorry.
Where you saw, before something happened.
Oh, yes. It was my cousin, and this was back in the 80s, like 87, 86. And I was in town visiting, and I just looked at him, and his head, if I touched his head, it was like one of those, a mylar balloon that was kind of deflated a little bit, and it would kind of go, you know, it would kind of crunch a little bit. Yeah. And I just remember looking at him going, oh my goodness, and I almost wanted to touch it, but I didn't, and I didn't say anything to him. Well, just a little bit after that, I don't remember exactly how soon after that, but he was killed, and he had got on a Caterpillar, you know, those construction things, and they were down by the beach area, and there's these levees there, and he was going up, and the thing turned and rolled, and his buddy jumped one way, he jumped the other way, but it rolled on top, and it crushed his head, yeah. So that, when I heard that, I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
that was
that's
like,
pretty serious.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm like, oh my goodness. And I remember, I believe I did talk to my sister about that. I told her about that. I said, yeah. But if I would have told him that, would it have made any difference,
right.
you know?
Right, we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a crazy thing to just see that his head just looked like if I touched it, it would just crumple, crinkle and crumple like that, kind of,
So have you had any other foreknowledge type things like that you can remember?
I know that I have.
Okay. Just can't remember them right now.
I can't remember them right now. No, I
Okay.
cannot.
Okay.
I cannot. Should I talk about that thing that my sister
Yeah.
brought up?
Let's talk about that thing you saw. You remember
Yeah.
the dark silhouette?
Yeah. This is when we were kids living in Houston,
Okay.
and my sister's boyfriend across the street. We always said his house was haunted because he would hear things, and his mother, when she was home alone, she had the TV, all TVs on, radio on, just everything going because she didn't want to hear anything, and lights, every light on in the house. And I remember him actually telling me that one time he was asleep in his bed and he heard something run down the hall, and he had a drum set in his bedroom, and it ran into the drum set. He jumps up, turns the light on, and the cymbals, going like this. Yeah.
Wow.
He's like, oh man, and I'm like, so, and every time I remember as a kid, actually this is something I'm remembering now, is that when I was a young kid, because I was like maybe 7, 8, things like that, maybe even a little younger, when he would moved in and we all were, hanging out as kids together. I'd go in there and it just seemed weird. It just was a different feeling in the house. I couldn't explain it, but I knew there was just something different about his house.
Okay.
So the older we get, it's like we hear about his mom turning everything on and stuff. And it was funny at first. I thought, oh yeah, sure. One time we went over there and everything was on in the house. the radio, the TVs, the lights, everything was on. And I'm like, I guess there was something to this, because it was a different feel in the house. I don't know at the time if it was bad or good.
Right.
But it was different, and so my sister, while I was back for my dad's celebration of life, my sister, we were talking about stuff, and we were all sitting around the kitchen table, and my sister's telling about when because he became her boyfriend, and he had a paper route, and so evidently my cousin and me, we were going to go, and my sister, we were all going to go with him like at 3:30 in the morning or something like that to go throw the papers, right? And so my sister, she went out of the house early. My cousin and I were still in our house, and we just lived across the street from him. And so she walked over there, and she was, leaning up against the car, kind of waiting for him to come out. And she looks over on the wall. He had, houses in Texas are made of brick. And she sees this silhouette, it's like a head, shoulders, and then just down, Mm-hmm. And it was there, and then there's a hedge in front of it, kind of. And so she's looking like, okay, there's nobody here, and in the street light, no, it's not a shadow, and she's like, whoa. And so she backs up, gets off, and she kind of starts walking back to our house, and she goes, I got around the corner, and I just took off, and she comes in, she's like, oh my God, and I remember my cousin and I, and it was funny, it triggered my memory of the same thing happening to me. Anyway, so it was, what the whole thing happened, and is that then, she's saying, she goes, yeah, and we open up the front window, to look out over at his house, and here is his face right there. The guy, his face. We didn't know. He was like, "Where are you guys? I thought you were coming with me." But it was just, of course, my mom comes out. What are you girls doing? One of those things. So
whose face did you see?
No, it was his face. No, it was the guy.
Who?
The guy. I'm sorry, the neighbor. My sister's boyfriend. His house is the one that's haunted. Okay. I can't say names. We can't follow it. I gotta remember. I gotta make sure. So it was his face, but he was just like, "Where are you guys?" But it was just at that instance. Of course, we all screamed. Typical. So anyway, but it got me, and I just looked at my sister and I said, "You saw that too?" And I didn't remember what she was saying about it because at that time I was a lot younger. I saw it a little bit later on, and I was probably, I'd say 12, 13 maybe, and we were all hanging out, we used to, the neighborhood kids, we used to always hang out together. We had so much fun, playing football or doing whatever. And anyway, so I looked over and I can't remember who I was with. I was with, I think, 2 other people. And I looked over and I go, what is that? And I see it, this thing on the wall.
Right.
I go, what? And we would walk like this by it. It wasn't our shadow. We couldn't make a shadow on the wall.
And your friends saw it too?
Yeah, 2 other friends, and I cannot.
Okay.
I'd have to call one friend and ask her if she was there with me, if she remembers it. The other person, I don't remember who they were, but it was just amazing. So I mean, this thing didn't move, didn't do anything, but it was there, and it wasn't there earlier. You know, it was just odd. So it was just, to me, just kind of fascinating me. So I got up and I went to, I don't know.
Did you ever try and touch it or anything?
I thought about it, but I got really close to it, almost as close as you are to me.
Really?
Yeah, and it was the blackest of black that I've ever seen. I've never seen black that black. I mean, it was crazy. You could not see brick through it at all.
Did you get any feelings from it?
You know, I didn't feel threatened, but I felt, I kind of made, and I look back on it, I felt protected. But I don't know if it was bad or good. I don't think it was good. I don't think it was, maybe it wasn't really bad, but it was, I mean, I can see it now, how black it was. It was just unbelievably black.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how could black get any blacker than, than black is? And it was just crazy. But I remember it, and I got really close, and yes, I almost wanted to go like this to it. But something said, don't do that, so I didn't do that. But yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. It was crazy, and for instance, my sister's story triggered that, and to tell you the truth, I do not remember her ever seeing that. You know, and I kind of vaguely remember the story a little bit because I was involved. I was going to go on the paper route with them, but I don't remember
Let's jump to the present day again. So, like in the last couple years, like how often do you hear these things? Like the last couple you described, most recent, were when people passed away. Yeah. Do you hear or see things other than those types of things in the last couple years? I have. Like Tom and I have talked. I doubt it. It's like, is this really? Yeah, sure, kind of thing. So it's not like when you hear something, it's not like a voice you would instantly recognize or anything like that. It's just
I know.
odd.
Yeah, I do know though who, like my mother-in-law who has passed. I knew it was her when she's talked to me. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. She's given me some things to tell my husband. Okay. And she and I have made amends. And so, I knew it was her. I don't know why I knew it was her, but I knew it was her. Other people, I mean, I have, if I say I've heard voices, it's like, it's not like voices, like, but I've heard things and I'm like, okay. And I've just never always, I'm not always sure about it.
From what Tom described, whenever there's voices or images or anything like that, they're different from what our normal physical senses are able to perceive. Therefore, it has to be translated from the spiritual to our physical. And so, like when you hear a voice, it's not really you're hearing a voice, but you know it was a voice. You just know.
Yes. I guess that is. I mean, I'm still like the other night. I was so tired, and it was like I had to say something. Yeah. I mean, I had to say it, and it just came out, and crying and everything while I'm saying it, and just, oh my gosh, it was just crazy. It was, so but I do hear some things sometimes, and I'm like, I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying to now develop it more. I can't hide from it anymore, should I say.
That's good. Now that you're realizing that you have it, it's something that you can listen to more closely, and it'll probably happen more often. Yes. And so we'll be looking for more exciting updates.
Yes.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, Annette.
All right. You're very welcome. Thank you.